Anyways, welcome to Money, Sex, and God. I am here and I am going to add, okay, cool. I'm going to add Joshua Falcon-Grey to this live as soon as he pops on. He just sent me a Spider-Man giving me hearts and telling me I'm doing great. Thank you, Joshua. Let me see. That's you. I'm going to tell him to come on. Okay. I feel good about this. Yes. Here he comes. Life is good and beautiful. Hey. So good. We did it. All right, everyone, welcome.
So yeah, if you don't mind doing it like, what do you call this, vertically, that would work for me. It's something.
Yeah, this is great. This is great. I'm into it. Perfect.
Cool.
People are coming on. Cool. So, just want to introduce everyone to you.
Yeah.
And I wanted you on here because every single post that you've posted since we've connected, I've been like, yep. Yep. Like, totally. Yep. And so I know like this live conversation is going to be pretty profound.
Yeah, for sure.
So just want to introduce you. And actually, can you introduce yourself? That would feel better.
Say that again?
Can you introduce yourself to everyone?
Yeah, sure. I guess I'll just hold the phone for now. So,
Okay.
My name is Joshua, and I am in Thailand, and I've changed my title recently. I used to do all kinds of healing work and stuff, and I still do, but I'm really changing my focus to be more of identifying more as an artist and a creator. And so I'm calling myself a story weaver. And so, yeah, I do, in addition to like the intuitive and, you know, I don't even want to call it healing work, but in addition to assisting people in reconnecting with their souls on a one-to-one level, I realize that what really means the most to me is doing it on a mass scale. And so I'm starting a platform online called Activator Live, and then there's also offline components, which I'm working on these immersive theater experiences. And so the first one I'm setting up is in Bali, and that's my sort of ultimate art form for now, is kind of combining performance and awakening and social life and all kinds of fun stuff, and so and just all kinds of technology that most people aren't aware exists. So that's kind of what I'm focusing on right now. Yeah.
I love that so much. I have a theatrical background, and there's such a brilliant energy resonance that can happen.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. So thank you for doing that work. And we're going to talk about, I mean, you gave me some topics and I just want to throw them out there because people are coming on and I want them to hear about what we're going to talk about.
Cool.
So they can stay on with us. We're going to be talking about porn and the instant gratification, the culture around porn. And I love this concept of the belonging wound.
Yeah.
Like, yes, and then intention setting and how it reinforces frequency. Like, I read these and like, this is really juicy.
Right.
So good. So we're Where do you want to start?
Um, well, if you'd like to start with a little, I don't know if embodiment practice is the right word, but just sort of like a little energy movement experience.
Yeah. Thank you
So,
for reminding me. Yeah.
yeah, sure. So, for anyone who hasn't heard of light language or soul language, it's basically a transmission of natural vocalized sound healing, and is the you see how I'm stopping and saying and I have to think of my words and all that stuff. It's basically conveying vocalization without having to put it into language. And so there's no skipping a beat, and there's no having to think about it. Completely bypasses the subconscious or the conscious mind. So I'm going to do just a minute of soul language to help connect us to our hearts, and sometimes visualizations come through for me or for the listeners. So just feel the experience, and feel free to share in the comments what comes up for you. If you have any visualizations, if you have any feelings, expansions, contractions, whatever it is. So I invite you to close your eyes unless you're driving. And here we go. Isikalakatanda shapulakatata indakata shandakatata isalakatandaka itanda. Isambalakatata nin and the katata sakatakata nishkatakata shindakata nikata shambalakata shagada. Umbalakatata nakika sanda. Ikandakalakatata tungakatata singili katatanda katakata shinga. Ingarakatata kandakata shangarakata tingarakata kandaka shangarakata tangarakata pungalakata ulabalakata tumbalakata ikangasha. Ushambalakata kadanda katakata shingalakata tangalakata shangalakata pungatata. Isa bulaka butunga butumbalaka dumbalakata shambo. Ukombalaka dumbalakata dumbalakata dumbalalaka shambalaka tunga la shangada. In malakatatan nakaratan nakasambalakatonda eka in lakapataton nakalakatom malakatata isangada nakatapul nakatatan nakatapasangkatatin nakatanda henda henda. Just a deep breath and moving that energy through your body and letting it all out. So yeah, kind of got the image of we're all sitting in a circle together. Everyone whose energy is present here, we're all just kind of in community, and we are the little digital village here.
Yeah, I got a very similar image, and we were all like kind of holding. I always get the image of people like kind of hugging each other.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful.
Felt like that. And I felt so much movement and like clearing. Like it felt like someone was brushing my forehead.
Yeah, and behind the phone here, that's also what I was kind of doing with my hands, by moving the energy too. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for that gift. That was beautiful.
Yeah, thank you for holding the space.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so can you grace us with, I feel like talking about the belonging wound feels right.
So, you know, we as humans have a number of woundings just by being alive, and I have one teacher that says the sense of I don't have enough is the inner child, and the sense that I am not enough is the inner teenager. And so this belonging wound is kind of a combination of both, because I am not enough to have enough is kind of the essence of the belonging wound. And so another way that I like to look at it is it's also very much, if not the same thing as the mother wound. And one of the core elements that is very, very primal in the nature of the mother wound is how most of us are systematically and violently separated from the placenta at birth instead of letting it shrivel away naturally. And so this has created this energetic rift for us, which leaves us wishing that we were reunited with something, whatever that is, and then we seek that something in food, sex, experiences, movies, vacations, whatever it is. We think we're always going to get it somewhere, and really it's the placenta. It's something that we cannot find in this world. And so really being able to let go of that longing to be reunited is a very important step to the reuniting with our selves that actually is what wants to happen. And so it's a grieving process. And as children, before we were verbal, we didn't know how to understand the concept of grieving the missing placenta, which was sort of our twin in the womb, sort of our divine mother giving us this nutrition. And so the belonging wound is feeling like we've been rejected by the placenta, basically.
And then there's this, what I'm hearing you say is this strong seeking behavior that manifests, right, when we haven't properly grieved this wound.
Yeah.
And sometimes the seeking, we've been talking about this a lot today on this growth, right?
I missed. Yeah, sorry, I missed that last part. You cut out for a second.
Oh, I was just saying, like, sometimes there's this urge in seeking as spiritual. A lot of people that are watching are going to be on a spiritual path, right? And there's this constant seeking in that, even that can get like looking outside. And what I'm hearing you say is it's a self, coming home to self.
Right. And
oh, there. Okay, I lost you for a second, but you're back.
I'm still here. Sometimes it's really fast internet, but it kind of shuts off and on randomly. But it comes right back.
Okay.
So yeah, one of the things to build on what you just said is it's very helpful, even if you can't like see energy, even if for someone who can't like see their aura, they can imagine it in their mind's eye, and you can imagine there's like the way the energy flows is instead of like the round bubble like it should be whole and experiencing our wholeness, we have these energetic habitual patterns of like making a sort of like a dent, and then that dent in the aura where we're just not flowing our own energy, we're looking to have that dent filled in. And so we're looking for the thing, right? What's that thing going to be to fill in that dent? And so it ultimately it has to be our decision, like, okay, no, nothing is actually going to fill that dent in for me. So all I need to really do is flow my energy where it's not flowing.
And I can imagine that often and I've seen this with my clients, is we look to the person that we're with, we look to our partners to fill this dent, right? And then we talked a lot about this tonight, is like the sovereignty goal. But the new edge to it is like that it will.
Shoot, I missed a few. Yeah, just missed a few words there because it was cutting out. But I feel what you're saying, and I see your hand motions.
Good enough. That's truth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so can you speak a little bit to, is the intention setting around codependency, is that this piece here that we're setting these intentions to fill this dent and then we're creating this loop of codependency? Is that, am I putting it there?
That is
Yeah.
so right on. Yeah. Um, because people have these intentions like, this year I'm gonna find the most amazing partner, and then unconsciously they're saying like, and they're gonna fix me, and everything's gonna be perfect, and I'm gonna happen to be whole again because this other person like makes me into this thing I can't be by myself. And the fact of the matter is there is a lot of healing that does come out of really aligned partnerships, but it's not because of the necessarily the sustainability even of the partnership. It's that partners teach us where it's okay to flow our energy, and then we can do it without them.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Real aligned partnership creates freedom and less need for partnership. And so as we become more whole in partnership, we need the partnership less and less and less. And that doesn't mean we should not be in partnership, because should is a guilt-based paradigm. It's really being in partnership because of a choice. Like, even though I'm sovereign and I don't need this, this is what I'm choosing right now. Just like I might choose to go for a walk, or I might choose to have lunch. It's not a dependency anymore.
And then what about commitment? I can just hear people's thoughts already of what they're going to be asking. They're going to go, so if it's a choice, then where's commitment on this?
Well, commitment is based on needs, right? Like, if I'm hungry and I commit to lunch, then I eat my lunch, and then it's the end of the commitment, right? I ate my lunch and now it's done. So I'm no longer committed to lunch because I ate it. So I like something that I, I like something that Matt Kahn says is, Matt Kahn is a spiritual teacher who recently got married, and he said, "Till death of our commitment do us part." And
Ah,
like, why not? You have an opportunity and really a spiritual necessity to recommit every day. And if you
right.
feel committed Thursday, and you feel committed Friday, and you feel committed Saturday and Sunday, you're like, okay, my relationship is over, then that's your prerogative. Or if you're questioning, is my relationship over on Sunday, then maybe there's an underlying need that's not being met, and that's being projected onto your relationship as a scapegoat. And maybe all you need is to go for a walk, or to go for a vacation, or to hang out with another friend, and just let it sit. So a lot of times commitment becomes the scapegoat for other needs that aren't being met.
Mm, hmm. And then we can then blame them, right? And put it out on them, right?
Right, right.
Oh, it's so good. Thank you for that. I already know, like, my clients are going to be like, but what about, right? Because there's always a lot of clients this battle of like, well, when do I stay in the partnership? When do I leave the partnership? And
Mm-hmm.
I've come in my own experience to find a feeling of completion that kind of like
Yeah,
right? Um,
yeah,
I got completion meaning like completion meaning like, okay, the energetic tie-in is no longer serving in this form.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, yeah. And
And in
I
this
was
form,
married, yeah, totally.
yeah,
And
because
I was
a
married,
partnership can
and
evolve every day.
yeah, when I got married, our vows were like basically that, like, let's stay together until it doesn't work anymore. And we're divorced, and she's like my favorite person. Like,
Wow.
we're super, super, super close.
That's amazing.
And that just speaks to like what can happen in the transformation when we're not looking for the other person to fill it, right? To fill any of our needs.
Right.
So, okay, great. Let's go into porn.
Cool.
Shed your light on porn. We've talked about porn a lot tonight, so let's just
Okay, cool.
Maybe it should be money, sex, and porn.
Yeah. Why not? So, I feel like the best place to start would be to look at the nature of karma. And when most people talk about karma, there's usually a misunderstanding of what it actually is and how it operates. And basically, it's momentum is a great way to a great word to replace it with. And so there can be momentum in terms of something that's beneficial, right? You can have beneficial thoughts, which creates beneficial karma, right? It's so you have control of your karma to some degree. And then there are unbeneficial thoughts and unbeneficial traumas and all this kind of stuff. And so these are always corresponding with violence in some way, right? So negative karma is always, another word for that could be violence. And so there is nothing inherently wrong with sex, of course, or necessarily even filming sex, but what is really the issue that porn brings up is this, in this culture, 99.9999, I'd say 100% of it is laden with extreme violence. And so there's a lot of violence. I would say like it's all generally aimed toward the feminine, right? And so this is a two-way street, right? It takes two to tango. So the shadow masculine says, I want to destroy / save the feminine. And then the shadow feminine says, I want to be destroyed / be saved by the masculine. And there's this puzzle, there are these puzzle pieces that are offering and condoning violence, and that violence gets accumulated into the cellular structures and the energetic structures of the people who are involved, and that turns into life karma, basically, because it's momentum that is accumulated and affects the entire life, not just during sex, not just watching porn, not just it's the same as watching horror movies, because exposing yourself to trauma creates traumatic thoughts, and exposing the innocence of your inner child to porn is exactly the same as exposing an infant to porn, right? It's the exact same thing.
This is so interesting because it's bringing up a lot in me that I'm feeling resistance to. So I'm just calling it because it's
yeah.
I feel protective. There's like a feeling of protectiveness in my solar plexus chest, and it's around wanting to separate things between unconscious sexuality
Oh.
Oh, do it again.
It skipped for a second. I think you're back now.
Okay, so basically just wanting to, just for the viewers and for my own, and we can totally not agree, and I'm totally cool with that. Like, we can totally be in that beautiful space of tension, which is so perfect. And my body is like, okay, I want to talk about unconscious sexuality and conscious sexuality, and how that feels like this deeper layer of, when you say violence, right? What it brings up to me is, like, if you think about right? Their sexual energy is it's like nothing their head, their body, heart not open at all, right? And then you look at, someone who is consensually, consciously grounded in their dark sexuality.
Yeah.
And there be this beautiful, like, love. I just want to put out there this place where we can play in the darkness safely and with consent and with groundedness, and even play in porn with that. Though it's not the culture, and we're shifting it, like, we're starting to shift it, and find better ways of managing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a really valid point, because a lot of my work is also experiencing the darkness where most people are unwilling to go. Just the other day, I was working with a woman who had experienced childhood sexual abuse, and so part of my session with her was walking her through a rape scene verbally, over the phone, where she was the rapist, and it helped expose her to the energies that she had been exposed to help complete the momentum that wanted attention and wanted to be experienced, right? And so there's a really massive difference between shedding light on a darkness that wants completion and momentum that wants to be exposed and come to the light, versus experiencing that as a lifestyle. And so, like you're saying, there's a big difference between a conscious experience of role-playing energies that are not ours because they are traumatized energies and they're clearly based in trauma, and consciously experiencing traumatized energies without identifying as them is a world apart from getting lost in the hypnotization of instant gratification culture.
Yes. Yep. That was my experience, because and people are saying that my voice isn't super clear. Can you hear me okay?
Right now I can. It was going in and out earlier, but I'm having a fine time now.
Okay, cool. Part of my journey, gratefully, has been peppered with a ton of trauma, sexual in nature, and it's what makes my work so rich. I'm super grateful for all of it. And the first shift for me came when I was a professional dominatrix. That was the first beginning of reclaiming that energy, was like stepping into this, the opposite role, right? And playing in that kind of dark energy, and like letting my body feel that and go into it consciously. So I'm just like yesing to everything you just said, because there's such power and magic in, just
letting ourselves play in that. Not everything has to just clear out. We can be in this space of play and curiosity when we know that it's just energy and it's just emotions.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. And so,
and not identifying. Yeah.
exactly, that's what I was going to add, is that's really the key. And so, if, so why don't we just like, just in case someone is listening and they're wondering, like, you know, which side of the fence am I on? Why don't we, right? Why don't we kind of just really clarify what identifying means, right? Because, like, let's say I'm playing the role of a dominatrix and I am holding my whip and I'm looking at the person and I'm like, I go straight into, you know, this fucking person. I'm gonna fuck this person up. They're no good. They deserve to be punished. You know, if I'm directly in that experience where I don't have a witness watching
Yeah.
who I am,
Yeah.
then if I totally believe that's who I am with no conscious breathing, for example, and without actually experiencing that that's just a role, then I'm going to create more violence in my field because all it wants is to become conscious, to become embodied breath. And if I'm actually watching it and I'm like, okay, here's what's interesting. I'm going to play this role where I am, you know, angry, but I'm going to feel, it's going to feel real. I'm going to feel angry. I'm going to feel the experience, but I know that it's just a role. And I know that the person can say a safe word at any time and they can back out. And I know that this is just acting. And then that's where there's not the identification. Then the real magic of this that I've discovered is you can really compress this role playing into tight little package experiences where you could do it live in person. You could do it role playing, having, you know, sex and experiencing the darkness. Or what I do is you can even experience it as just energetic movements and meditation by yourself, right? You can play whatever role you want. You can be, sometimes I'll be like walking down the street and I'll see like an old woman selling Thai food here in Thailand, and I'll be like, what if I just walked over and started making out with that old woman right now? Right? It's just exploring the darkness in your head and just letting it be, and that moves a lot of the energy.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things. I'm glad that you said that, because one of the biggest aha moments with almost all of my clients, specifically men, is when they recognize that the energy within them that, like, kind of, they consider it naughty or dirty or wrong or whatever, it has a charge. And if we're not allowing and accepting the charge to move through our body, right, then it starts to eat into our energy. And it's like you don't have to do anything with it other than just charge it up. Like, just charge it, let it move through you, and then that's it. And partners can feel that, right? Like, we can feel whether or not the charge is actually being circulated through the body. So I don't know. I'm glad that you said that, because it's there's nothing's really wrong ever, right? But just really releasing that there's like any sort of wrongness with any desire that any one human has.
Right.
And that the way to go is always inside of our bodies, internally, right? And that's where we can find like the consciousness and the love around everything that we're doing, no matter what it is.
Yeah, yeah. And for a long time, I wouldn't have understood what you said, going inside of our bodies. And so something that really helped me get that is entering inside of the fear, because it's so easy to look at the fear and be afraid of the fear, And that's exactly what fear is.
Run.
Fear is the fear
Right.
of fear. And
Right.
so if we're no longer afraid of the fear, then it cannot exist. If we enter inside of it, there is no fear at all, because it is only the fear of fear.
Right. 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 And then it just kind of poofs.
Yeah.
It poofs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it releases that auric dent that we talked about.
Yes. Yeah. That feels really good.
Yeah.
Love it. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Feels like
Yeah.
a good place to land. That was
Cool.
really, really beautiful.
Yeah.
Is there any, like, what do you want to tell if people are watching? I want to make sure people can get in touch with you and stay connected to you and your work and what you're doing for humanity.
Sure. Thanks. So yeah, if you can tell from what we're talking about here, I like to do a lot of role playing actually, and so my one-on-one sessions are called Tao play, and so it's basically, Tao is a ancient Chinese way of describing truth or God or higher self, or it's called the path or the way, and so I like to play with revealing that through layers upon layers upon layers of our conditioning, and so it's a space of play, and so my intuitive sessions are called Tao play, and as part of this broadcast here, I'm offering a free 15-minute reading where it might be a little bit of Tao play, but it might be just my intuitive energy reading if somebody is looking for some kind of lightning clarity on where they're at emotionally, energetically, just to throw out some names of emotions is often very helpful, because a lot of times we can't see or feel what we're avoiding and what kind of energy we're projecting. And so I've just gotten really good at naming that, and naming the karma, naming the momentum, naming the current experience, and then I'll ask, I'm not like all seeing, all knowing, so I'll say, does that resonate? And we kind of team up and take it from there. And then I'm also creating this experience in Bali, so if anyone's ever going to be in Bali, hit me up, and whether it's for an in-person session or maybe some kind of collaboration, let me know. And feel free to add me on Facebook if you want to be friends. And I like to post a lot, so I have a lot of juicy content to share. And yeah, I appreciate you listening and watching. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being on and connecting, and all the things you post are always just like, so your resonance is perfect and brilliant. So really appreciate it, and what a gift to everyone here who's watching.
Thank you. And likewise, I feel like it doesn't even feel like this is our first meeting. I feel like we've been friends for a long time, and yeah, I'm so grateful for you inviting me on here, and everything that you post is also very like, oh, big yes, easy yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's so good. Thank you.
Have
Have a good one.
Be in touch with you soon. Bye.